I'm continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a little bit as I move along. Right now, I am still in the Book of Deuteronomy. This will be chapter 10, and in this chapter, there will be a brief portion from the Joseph Smith translation of the Bible. And what this is, the Joseph Smith translation, this is an inspired correction or translation of the Bible done by Joseph Smith to restore or correct those passages of the Bible that had been lost over the years. So let us read Deuteronomy chapter 10. But I will point out the one passage that does have the Joseph Smith translation is the first two verses of chapter 10. So I will read the King James, and then I will read the Joseph Smith translation. Here we go. Chapter 10. Well, first of all, chapter heading. Tables of stone containing 10 commandments placed in ark. All that God requires is that Israel love and serve him. How great and mighty is the Lord. Here we go. Now, this is King James Version here, so verses 1 and 2. At that time the Lord said unto me, Hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and come up unto me into the mount, and make thee an ark of wood. And I will write on the tables the words that were in the first tables, which thou breakest, and thou shalt put them in the ark. Interesting. Now, this is a little bit out of order, though, because he actually did this back at Sinai before they got to Kadesh Barnea. So he has rehearsed all the rebellions, but then he goes back and says, yes, remember, I broke those tables. The main rebellion was the one at Sinai where they built the golden calf. And so all the other ones were kind of an aside, kind of a side note, saying, yes, these also happened. But at the time of the golden calf incident, I broke the first tables. So now God told me to make more new tables, to bring them to him. He will rewrite the law, and will put them into the ark. But this is the Joseph Smith translation. At that time the Lord said unto me, Hew thee 2 other tables of stone like unto the first, and come up unto me upon the mount, and make thee an ark of wood. And I will write on the tables the words that were on the first tables, which thou breakest, save the words of the everlasting covenant of the holy priesthood, and thou shalt put them in the ark. So clarifying that these are different tables of stone, they're other, but also these new tables of stone did not contain the Melchizedek priesthood. That's what it means by the holy covenant of the priesthood. They had the Levitical priesthood, the priesthood of Aaron and the Levites, but it did not contain the Melchizedek priesthood. That was removed from the people. Now, there were those who still had it. Moses had the Melchizedek priesthood, and when he ordained Joshua, Joshua had the Melchizedek priesthood. Aaron also had the Melchizedek priesthood because he had been ordained before that happened. So these men still had the Melchizedek priesthood, and later on others would as well. Samuel clearly had it. He was a Ephraimite, but he was doing sacrifices, which means he had to have had the Melchizedek priesthood because he was not a Levite. So, but the covenant of the priesthood was taken away from the people as a general covenant. It was not had commonly among the people at this time. That's what this is saying. It's a very important change, the Joseph Smith clarification that Joseph Smith made. Very important. But let us continue. Verse 3. And I made an ark of shittim wood, and hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and went up into the mount, having the 2 tables in my hand. And he wrote on the tables according to the first writing, the 10 commandments which the Lord spake unto you in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. And the Lord gave them unto me. And I turned myself and came down from the mount, and put the tables in the ark which I had made. And there they be, as the Lord commanded me. Now, of course, Moses didn't make the ark. This is this just says an ark. Make an ark of wood. Most likely talking about, or possibly talking about the Ark of the Covenant that was made later, but this is just as an ark cabinet or chest is other modern translation. So was this the Ark of the Covenant? It's not made clear here, because Moses says that he made this ark, and he doesn't give any other descriptions. So could it have been the Ark of the Covenant, or could it have been a different ark that the tables of stone were placed in? It's an interesting question. And maybe it'll clarify it later on, but right now it's a little bit ambiguous. Verse 6. And the children of Israel took their journey from Beeroth of the children of Jachan to Moserah. There Aaron died, and there he was buried, and Eleazar his son ministered in the priest's office in his stead. From thence they journeyed unto Gudgodah, and from Gudgodah to Jotbath, a land of rivers of water. At that time the Lord separated the tribe of Levi to bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, to stand before the Lord, to minister unto him, and to bless in his name unto this day. Wherefore Levi hath no part nor inheritance with his brethren. The Lord is his inheritance, according as the Lord thy God commanded him. And I stayed in the mount according to the first time 40 days and 40 nights. And the Lord hearkened unto me at that time also. And the Lord would not destroy thee. And the Lord said unto me, Arise, take thy journey before the people, that they may go in and possess the land which I swear unto them, which I swear unto their fathers to give them. And now, Israel, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes which I command thee this day for thy good. Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Lord's thy God, the earth also with all that therein is. Now that's an interesting phrase, though. The heaven and the heaven of heavens. This is most likely, in my opinion, talking about the heaven is the sky, the space around it, the solar system probably. And then the heaven of heavens is talking about actually the celestial kingdom. That is just what I get from this. I could be wrong, but there's nothing in the footnotes to clarify it, and I don't know, it's just an odd passage. Verse 15. Well, actually, before we go on, I do like this stuff, It does give us an indication that the ark that was being talked about was the Ark of the Covenant. We know that Moses didn't actually make the Ark of the Covenant. It was, I can't remember their names, but they had craftsmen to make it, but Moses was kind of the overseer. He was the one that told them, he was the architect that gave them the plans, and then you had the overseers who oversaw the work of the craftsmen. So most likely we're talking about the Ark of the Covenant here. But I like the whole description here. What does God require except that you serve him? Reminds me of the King Benjamin in the Book of Mormon. Verse 15. Only the Lord had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. For the Lord your God is God of gods and Lord of lords, a great God, a mighty and a terrible, which regardeth not persons, nor taketh reward. He doth execute the judgment of the fatherless and widow, and loveth the stranger, in giving him food and raiment. Love ye therefore the stranger, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God, him shalt thou serve, and to him shalt thou cleave, and swear by his name. He is thy praise, and he is thy God, that hath done for these things, great and terrible things, which thine eyes have seen. Thy fathers went down into Egypt with 70 persons, and now the Lord thy God hath made thee as the stars of heaven for multitude. So, this is just, again, praising the power and glory of God. I love some of the phrases are great. I love it. I love the way it's mentioned. But I do want to point out, God of God and Lord of lords. Now, a lot of people outside the church consider this as a reference to pagan gods. He is a god over all those pagan gods. I don't think that's what Moses is talking about. Because if the pagan gods don't exist, you can't be a god of something that doesn't exist. So, what I think Moses is talking about when he calls him Lord of Lords and God of Gods is he is talking about other gods. He's talking about other celestial beings, other exalted beings. He is extolling the Godhead as the ruler of all other exalted beings. There are other gods, there are other lords, but the Godhead, they are the God of all gods. All other gods worship the Godhead, just like we do. So, anyways, I'll see you in the next one.